Hey there, Nicole Young here from NicoleZ.com, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create a very intense composite image with the use of image and adjustment layers, along with blending modes and masks. Let's go ahead and get started. I have a photo opened up into Luminar, and what I'd like to do here is really intensify the emotion in this photo by overlaying another image on top of it. In the Layers panel, I'm going to click on the plus icon and add a new image layer. I'm going to select the egg image that I have on my desktop, and I'll click Open. And that adds the image as a new layer in my Layers panel. Next, I need to transform this image so it sits properly in the forehead area on the image below. But before I transform it, I'm going to drop the opacity down. And that will allow me to actually preview that area below while I'm making the transformation. I'm going to go up to Tools, Transform, and I'll zoom out a little bit so I can see everything. Next, I want to make sure that the lock icon is locked, which will ensure that the aspect ratio stays the same as I'm moving things around. I'm going to flip this image almost all the way upside down and increase the size. And when I'm finished, I'll go ahead and click Done. I'm going to fit this back to the screen so I can see everything a little bit larger. Go back to my opacity, change that back to 100%. And now I need to mask this crack area so that's the only thing that's visible in this image. I'm going to press B, and that will activate my brush tool. I'll make sure that the plus icon is set, and I can even increase or decrease the brush size using that left or right bracket key. And then I'm just going to start brushing over that area. I just want to make sure that the entire egg crack is visible. And I think that that's pretty good right there. Now it's time to blend this with the layer below. In the Layers panel, I'm going to click on that blending dropdown and select Overlay. It still needs a little bit of work, and so to do this, I'm going to add a filter. I'll click on the Add Filter button and click on Black and White Conversion. Now the black and white layer is going to do two things. First, converting an image to black and white will help it blend better when you're using that overlay blending mode. In this case, there is no color from that other image that I want to transfer over, so converting it to black and white is a really good step. Secondly, there are a lot of different settings here that I can also use to help blend this image better. And let me show you. If I move the exposure slider to the left, I immediately see a very good result, and now it doesn't really look like there's anything other than just a crack in the forehead. Now I'm going to intensify those cracks to really bring those dark areas out. I'll start by moving the contrast slider to the right. Next, I'm going to move that black slider to the left, and you can see that the dark areas and those cracks are really starting to show through. At the very bottom, I'm going to move the clarity and the detail slider to the right, which will kind of make those areas a little bit more crisp. My composite work here is done, so now I'd really like to add an overall effect to the entire image to really bring out some of the drama in this scene. I'll start by adding a new adjustment layer, and again, I'm going to choose that black and white conversion. But for this filter, I don't want to keep the image black and white. Instead, I'm going to click on the drop-down in that filter, choose Blending Mode, and change the blending mode to Overlay. That adds a pretty intense look to the image, so I'm going to go into some of the settings here to kind of reduce that effect a little bit. I'm going to move the highlight slider to the left, as well as the white slider, which does a good job of kind of neutralizing those overly bright areas in the photo. Now I'm going to finish with this edit by adding a vignette. Let me go ahead and close that filters catalog. I'm going to move the amount slider pretty far to the left, and I'm also going to increase the feather. That adds a nice finishing touch to this photograph. So to recap, I was able to take two relatively simple photographs, and with the use of blending and filters, I was able to create a really unique composite to really intensify the emotion in the photograph.